Thanks very much, Alex. Good morning, everybody. I just want to share with you this morning a little bit about the journey we've been on with RamSelect, both the training program and the app, and the impact that that's had on increasing adoption of genetic technologies across the sheep industry, and I think it's had an impact both in the ram breeding sector, but very particularly in the commercial sector where people buy rams and the rubber hits the road. If we go back to 2012, we know the CRC had already and was continuing to invest huge amounts of money in genetic technologies, particularly developing genomics from the ground up, as Julius and his team have done so well, but also in developing new breeding values and new traits for us. So a whole range of investment. And I guess the CRC, the board, the executive, everyone wanted to make sure that that investment had an impact across the industry. And the route to market, of course, is using breeding values, ASBVs, in order to drive improvement in our stud flocks, but also within our commercial flocks as well. And so we thought, we knew already at that stage that there was very good uptake and membership of sheep genetics within the terminal ram breeding sector. We had, moderate uptake of maternal ram breeders within sheep genetics, but quite poor within the merino sector. And we suspected that there was also very poor use of breeding values amongst commercial ram buyers when they went to the sales. So we undertook a needs analysis to dig into that a bit further and try and understand what was going on and how we could respond and have some impact. And what that needs analysis showed us was that there were indeed limitations to the people who were willing to join sheep genetics, particularly in the merino sector. And that was affecting the use of ASBVs generally across the industry. And what those ram breeders told us was that they didn't really see the value in joining sheep genetics because their clients were not asking for the information. So they didn't have demand pull from their clients to deliver ASBVs to them, and so they didn't see any value in particularly starting to participate in these genetic technologies. From both the breeder perspective and the commercial buyer perspective, they didn't understand what the benefit of using breeding values would be to them, how it would change their business or improve the profitability of their business. And again, the complexity of the technology, the acronyms, the numbers, the negatives and the positives, the accuracies, all that led to complexity. And that was particularly a challenge for commercial people who really only look at that information once, maybe twice a year. And by the time they get to the next ram sale, they've forgotten again what all those things mean. And again, the market signals about what was the value of these traits that we had breeding values for. So the report went on then to give us some recommendations about what we should do about this and how we should respond as an organisation. The really strong recommendation was that we should deliver training activities that were really focused on commercial people buying rams. So there'd been a huge amount of extension activity in the stud sector in encouraging them to uptake and join sheep genetics, and that had been effective, but really we hadn't focused on the commercial sector. And we also needed a whole network of advisors out there across the regions who could support those people at ram buying time to understand what ASBVs were, help them make the right decisions. And Sally's talked to us this morning about a really important project that she's been involved in that's continued that work. Embedding the practical activities and the understanding of ASBVs into the university courses was another recommendation, and that we needed some tools that were specifically built for commercial ram buyers, not retrofitted tools for stud breeders. And as always, we needed good advocates out there and an integrated communications program, and Michael's given us a really good example of how that can support change within the industry if we have that integrated communications activity. So these were the recommendations, and I guess that led us in the first instance to the development of the RamSelect workshops. We had a very large team involved in developing the content, testing it, trialling it, and then rolling it out. And we had 140 workshops across Australia over about a 3-year period. In excess of 2,500 people attended those workshops. And very importantly, ram breeders nearly always hosted those workshops, so it was the opportunity for them to engage with their clients and for a broader range of community people to come along. And we developed that network of advisors. So there was something like 30 service providers and advisors across Australia who participated in the training activities, the skills development, and then went on to deliver the workshops. Many of those people are sitting in the room today, and I thank you all for the contribution you made to this really successful program, and it wouldn't have happened without you. And I know that you go on doing that work on a daily basis with your clients, so that's great. We supported these activities obviously with case studies and advocates. And there's an example of one of the case studies down here, people who are getting real benefit out of using ASBVs in their commercial operations. University practicals, we continue to deliver RamSelect cracks at UNE and also at Charles Sturt University and University of Adelaide, and I hope that will continue for a very long time. Certainly that's one of the key objectives for the CRC in its transition process, that those things continue. And we were lucky enough to receive a CRC Association Innovation Award for the delivery of these workshops. So that was a great achievement for the whole team and everyone that was involved. Despite all that success, we still had this nagging feedback from commercial producers and it really summed up in those three statements up there. The first one was, I need a benchmark to get started. I really want to use breeding values to buy rams, but I don't know where I sit in industry, so I don't know where to start, and I don't know what criteria to put on my selections. The second one was about the complexity and stressfulness that people felt on ram sale day because they were trying to deal with so much complex information. And the third one was this issue of, I remember what you told me today, but next year I can't remember all that information about what the data means. And I guess that took us into our second journey around developing the RamSelect app. And we were really lucky that the opportunity came along at the same time to partner with Telstra and Pivotal Labs in San Francisco. And they really gave us the introduction to the ag tech world, and we've continued to work in that space ever since. So huge thank you to Telstra for that opportunity and that introduction that they gave to us. So we've now had ramselect.com.au around for 4 ram selling seasons, and it really brings together some key components that commercial producers told us they needed and wanted in a simple form that they could use. And Sally's already referred to the first component here, but it's what's my benchmark, how do I get started? And RamSelect can help in two ways with that, either by giving you the ram team average of the current rams you have on the property, and that's a really good indicator of where you need to go for setting criteria for your future ram purchases. If you don't have that information, and many people do not have that information because they don't have the tag numbers for the rams they've purchased in the past, all those rams didn't have ASBVs anyway. And so the second option, of course, is to use the flock profile test that's now available through our DNA technologies, and that can give you that benchmark or that starting point. So that's the first aspect that's available within RamSelect. This is the second most important thing, and Sally's also mentioned this. You need a clear breeding objective, and this is a way to set a breeding objective using plain English profit drivers like fleece weight, wool quality, and simple slider bars that allow you to adjust emphasis on the drivers of profit in the business to give yourself a breeding objective. And the real strength of RamSelect is that you can save it, store it there, and go back to it at any time. It's not lost. You can come back to it, adjust it, tweak it over time, but it's there as a permanent record. Okay, so you've got your benchmarks through Ram Team or Flock Profile. You've got a breeding objective that's set. You're now in a position to use the filters within RamSelect to actually exclude rams that aren't going to take you in the right direction, that aren't going to make that incremental improvement each year in the commercial flock. And that's what these filters are, and that's quite a new feature within RamSelect that really adds value when you're going through the search functions. And of course, the ultimate outcome is that RamSelect goes and searches all the sale catalogues that are available on the site and sends you back a list of those rams ranked according to what you're looking for. And you can do that. This is a within stud example, but you can also do that across studs. If whatever's on the site at the time is available for you to search. So they're the components that sit within ramselect.com.au, the app. As I said, we've been through several iterations now, and it's really turning into quite a mature product. And we've been able to now offer this service across 4 ram selling seasons. And just to give you an idea of the sort of numbers and volume of traffic that's going through the site, we've had 630 catalogues, ram sale catalogues during that time. Close to 56,000 rams listed on the site during ram selling seasons. And in terms of independent searches for rams, 19,000 independent searches. So we're pretty happy with those statistics, but of course it can always be better, and we would love to grow that to be bigger and bigger in the future. If you want to store information on RamSelect, so your ram team data or your flock profile, you need an account. So this represents people who've paid and hold an account, 765. But just remember that there are many, many more people who can come in and search without actually creating an account. So the 19,000 relates to a much bigger group of people than the 765. And 350 RAM teams stored there and 270 flock profile reports. So these two areas are really starting to grow very quickly now as people become familiar with these aspects of the app. In closing, I just think it's interesting to go back to those original recommendations from the needs analysis and just check back that we did actually deliver on those things that we were asked to do. And I think we can tick pretty much all the boxes in terms of training activities, that fantastic network of advisors across industry. We definitely delivered a tool that was specifically for commercial producers. The communications program was really well run by Michael, and we had the added bonus of a second CRC Innovation Award. Thank you very much.